Hey everybody, Nerd Show. You know it's not a Wednesday unless there's a slight technical difficulty, so my camera's gonna be blinking every now and again, but it's fine. You know how we do around here. I'm your host, Catherine, aka the High Heeled Gamer, and today is a really special show. So this time around, it's a little different. We actually have we have a band with us today, and I'm super excited for you guys to meet Wreck the System. Let's go. Hey guys.
Woo!
What's good?
Hey.
So excited. So for those that don't know, have not heard of you guys for whatever reason, let them meet you right now. Please introduce yourselves.
Cool. Well, we are Wreck the System. Individually, I am Create Lady J.
Cam 3.
Osiris Green.
Yep. And we are basically an alternative / nerdcore hip hop band.
Yeah, so I was actually just like, they're everything in one thing in one. Like they are amazing. And it's such a great fresh sound in my opinion because it's a good mix of punk, rock, rap, R&B, everything that you might like individually, but y'all make it work so well as a sound. Can you speak a little bit on that as how y'all just was like, you know what, we're taking everything and making an awesome stew?
Well, we, I guess, as individual artists starting up, we always had an interest in combining different, genres in music because we're just into so many things. I know, uh, I came from a background of video games and making video game music and stuff like that, and wanting to, combine it with like hip hop and stuff like that. Jay was doing a nerdcore rap before we even knew it was a thing. And
Oh
plus, we
wow.
all like to combine different aspects of of the genres that we liked and everything like that. Osiris had a whole project that was dedicated to, just that. So we always had that like in our system, so to speak. but but we're just big fans of just trying to push ourselves to the next level. That we really want to make sure that whoever is checking it out, no matter what genre they preferred before, they're just taking it back and they just genuinely enjoy the music.
Yeah, so for me, I just like that it's one isn't heavier than the other. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of times that a lot of bands and a lot of creators try to mesh things and you can hear the heaviness on the hip hop or the heaviness on the pop or the heaviness on the rock, but somehow you guys like make it so smooth and like fluid. And that really blew my mind. So for a lot of people that don't know, I actually saw Wreck the System live. I had the honor and pleasure of being front row for a live concert at BlurredCon, and I had no idea what to expect. And the crowd was just like you guys were like on it, hyped, and the crowd was hyped for you. Speak to how that feels for you guys to feed off of that energy, or do you feed off of that energy?
Honestly, yeah. And from the very beginning, we had been doing that because we didn't really start off as a band. We
Mhm.
actually came together to do a project called Tokens, like back in the day, and we did a like mini concert or whatnot at one of the hotel parties at Magfest. So we had different songs together, different songs individual, kind of like what you saw at BlurredCon. And when we had the songs or whatnot, we performed together. It just felt so natural, and people were like, "Oh my goodness!" And they like mistaken us for a band, and we're like, "We're not," but thank you. But after the show, we were like, you know what? That felt really good. Y'all want to do this? Y'all want to like actually get together? And since then, we've been popping. It's great.
How many years have you guys been together?
2016. Beginning of
Wow.
2016.
Was it hard for you guys to transition from solo to doing band? I'm sure you guys still have your own solo things, but was it hard to transition into like forming this unity?
No, I'm actually the newest member.
Okay.
The funny thing is, it's 10 times easier actually, especially when you have because you don't have to write 3 verses
Right.
for a song anymore. I don't have to also make my own beats. I don't
Hmm.
have to worry about also because we're rapper, producers, and engineers. Like we do all three. So
Oh,
somebody can
okay.
record or mix it. Like Jay could record me, I could record Jay, I could record Cam. Cam can make a beat. We all can rap. Yeah, so it actually makes it a lot easier. So it wasn't hard for me to get acclimated into a group at all. And before
Okay.
and prior to Record System, I actually I had a group. I had a group situation where it just didn't work. It didn't work out because I think I was the only one that wanted to do this for a living, and everyone else kind of wanted to just kind of do it. So yeah, meeting them was one of the best things that happened to me. So yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. So Zach, here I've heard nothing but great things about the band. So like I said, I was the front row and Create Lady J just was like, and I was feeling like what you was doing, and next thing I know, you were like, not in a bad way, please, what I'm about to say is not in a bad, you were in my face, like you were just like yes, and then you jump over the barrier and you're in the crowd in a mosh pit, and I'm just like, oh, this is commitment, like this is a show. Do you guys usually tend to do that? Like obviously probably not in a bigger crowd, but do you guys tend to like just like let's mosh, let's do this?
The funny thing is, it's something that we've always wanted to do, probably more so me, but everybody's with it. And we hadn't really had a moshing song per se. So in this, album that's out right now, uh, we had to get it done. It was like it flowed very naturally. It wasn't even planned. It just kind of like, and that's how we ended up making music anyway. Like we'll talk about it in passing or however. Then we're in the studio. It's like, oh, hey, this is it. This is what we're doing. But most of the time in our shows, we are very in your face.
Yes.
There are times. There's a particular song I have called "Beat the Game Again," where I actually pull people on stage or whatnot. So I have a lot of like crowd interaction
Okay.
and just like being in people's faces.
Lit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
No, and I personally, as my first time ever being at a concert, like I like that because it felt like you knew we were there and we were there for you. You were there for us. So like I ended up like appreciating that because I see concerts like on TV, and a lot of the times, yeah, they'll put like a mic out for like somebody to sing, but you was like, no, we're here together. We're doing this together. This is a us thing. It didn't feel like artists and watchers. It felt like we were all in it together. You know what I mean? And is that something that you consciously do? Like, okay, I'm creating this music, but it's our music.
Yeah, I think as we started getting going as a group, we started being more conscious about how audiences were going to feel about it. I mean, of course, we like to make music that we like, that we genuinely like, but of course, we were performing this on stage. We even talking about as we're recording, this is going to be so much fun to do at a show, at a convention, or something like that. And even different things like call and responses and hooks, and just the energy of a certain track is just, we just get excited to just be able to perform it for y'all. So
Yeah, and for those that have seen like my Instagram post, like the little snippet that I did of you guys does not do justice at all. Like I have more footage and more pictures and stuff of you guys, and it I just don't put it out because I don't feel like it does justice for what the performance that you guys gave out there. We actually have a question. Zach wants to know, what are your influences when creating your music?
Ooh, no, man, that's a great one. For me, I would say when I'm creating with Record System, because we listen to a lot of different things, but especially when I create with these people, the influences I probably pull from the most are obviously Tech Nine. If anyone knows me, I love Tech Nine, and Outkast. Those two are very big. When I work with Record System, I can really just go crazy. I can be as creative as I want to be. I don't have any boundaries or limits. I can be as weird as I want. So I think my influences when I create with them, I typically pull from that part of my artistry is the Tech Nine Outkast influence.
for me, it's a mixed bag because I feel like Wreck the System brought out a different side of me that I kind of wanted. And so with them, I I think I've definitely honed myself as more the energetic, like sort of like the rah in your face type. And I think with that, I draw a lot of influence from like Busta Rhymes and
I can hear that
uh,
one in the album.
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
definitely. In terms of like just raw energy and just even just getting freaky with the lyrics and everything and the delivery and stuff like that. But at the same time, I love bars, I love punchlines, I love like references and things like that. Just slinging them at high speed, and hopefully the right people catch it. Just like ooh, ooh.
Right.
So,
Yeah, shoot. My influences, first and foremost, is Eminem.
Mhm.
Like I always focus on like the flow and how like my lyrics make people feel,
Yeah.
whether it is bar heavy, because I don't have to be bar heavy a lot,
Mhm.
uh, or it's just, super energetic. And then I take another piece of that inspiration from Linkin Park, because I
That's
very,
my
very,
favorite. Yeah. Love
yeah,
Linkin Park. Yeah.
very alternative, very like their performances were like high energy too. So yeah, those would be my top two.
Yeah. So somebody had asked me like what your music is like, and I couldn't pinpoint it. I'm like, it's like everything, but it's great. It's all in one. And I call it a music stew. You've got a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and it works and it hits good in the soul. Now I'm a picky music listener, and I listen to the album. My favorite song is On the Edge, from the album. Yeah. And one thing that I noticed throughout each song is how each of you have your moment to shine, and it doesn't feel like, oh, this is just, Cam 3, or this is just Create Lady. It's like it's literally the three of you guys. How does that process come about?
We actually actively do that. A lot of the times, especially with this album, like Cam hasn't been on like the first verse and a lot of like our past stuff. So we're like, he is opening this album. He's coming in strong or whatnot. And yeah, and then like when we are kind of in the studio, we're like, okay, who's gonna go first? You actually haven't been first. You know what, Cam? You need a hook. All right,
I
I
like
want a
that.
lot of hooks. Let's give Osiris a hook. So yeah, that is very conscious actually.
Okay, good. That's good. And that speaks to like the flow of your friendship as well. To give each one of you because again, you guys are individual, creators, individual musicians. And sometimes, there are egos and there are like uppity people. And I just like the fact that y'all, you know, you can hear it in the music that this is more than just a band. You guys are legit friends.
We do not have that problem at all.
Yeah, I think even I think there was a song where what was the song? I think it was Strangers, because when I heard Strangers, I was like, I want to go first.
Yeah,
I was
right,
like,
exactly.
yeah, I was
Right.
like the way my verse was, because I start my verse, I was like, let me make sure I'm starting this right. And then but Cam, he got a chance to record before I did. And so he did his verse first, and as I was working on it at home, I got to a point where I heard it so many times. I was like, bro, you just sound better going first. Your part sounds better first than I think
I
my
like
part
that.
is. And again,
Yeah.
like you said, that's
No
no
ego.
ego. And another part of No Ego, even outside of the album, even like Jay was during the album, Jay was talking about solo stuff, and she's very mindful of the group. She's like, I got all these things I want to do, and me and Cameron are like, go,
Yeah,
do it,
all the
yo.
time.
Like I'll
Aw.
make the beats, I will record you. We're
Yeah.
like, so I think when it comes to all of us doing it, we push Cam to do solo stuff. I'm always getting yelled at for solo stuff. So it's one of those things where I think we all genuinely love to just see each other be artists.
That's
So
good.
there is no ego.
And at the
Good.
end of the day, I think it's all representing Wreck the System as a whole. It's a very symbiotic relationship. So
Yeah.
even if we split up to do solo stuff, it's all representing, what we bring to the table. And when we all come together, form like Voltron, it's just a bigger part of something great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how did the name Wreck the System come about? How did you guys come up with that name?
So I have to think back. 'Cause I believe this was in between like studio days. I think you were working at Black Marigold.
Yeah.
And that was the old studio that Jay worked as an engineer. And when bounced the ideas of actually opening our own studio and everything like that. And I was talking about wanting to be a part of that as well as a producer and stuff. And so we were throwing off names like different things like Create and Conquer. I think
we were naming the studio.
and I think I think we also had like between a studio and a label in mind. So I threw out the name Wreck the System Records, and
Oh,
just the
okay.
way it just flowed was just really
Yeah.
cool. So that's how we formed WTS Recordings, aka Wreck the System Recordings, but we call it WTS nowadays.
Yeah.
And then Wreck the System, the band, just kind of grew out of that.
Basically.
Okay, I like that. And so have you guys ever so let's talk a little about possible downsides and stuff like that. So obviously you guys are all, Black, and y'all are doing this punk, this rock. Have you guys ever run into the whole you're not supposed to be doing that because that's not your, it shouldn't be your style and stuff like that? And I'm talking because I have a lot of people who are indie people who are just getting their foot in the door, and there are upsides, but there are downsides too. Have you guys ever run across stuff like that?
Yeah, in a way, so far as a group, we have not verbally been told that,
Okay.
but I have I pick up, on kind of like the subtleties of people being like, okay, or yeah, it's like we're kind of in between because we end up picking up people who don't usually like rap, but then they like nerdy stuff or they like rock. So we definitely get a lot more positive, but I think
Okay.
like that has been very silent,
Okay.
just with
Okay.
the looks or like, like kind of like that. But so far, not so much. But
Okay.
I'm definitely prepared and waiting for it.
Yeah, because if anything, I think we even tested the waters of that when we were trying out a collaboration between me and Lady J. We were doing a Kingdom Hearts themed album, and
Oh wow.
so yeah, basically just combining, like a lot of the beats, a lot of the music and stuff like that from the video games mixed with, our brand of rap and everything, and everybody in the group participated and stuff. We put out a video for that joint, and it got
Oh
it got it
yeah.
got really it got positive reception, but as we pushed it further out in the waters, there were people that were not necessarily feeling it, and mostly because of the fact they never heard something like that before. They were
Nope.
just like,
Okay.
it's just like you guys combining rap, like trap and Kingdom Hearts. Like
Yeah.
it's just like nobody's
That's,
doing that.
yeah,
Nobody's
that's
doing that.
not good. And
Not knowing that
why
there's
are you cursing on a kid's game?
not knowing that there's
It's
a
like,
whole ecosystem of people that create this music dedicated to their favorite games, movies, anime, and stuff like that that are thriving. So we've it's never been really out loud. It's more like
Okay.
keyboard courage. But I think in terms of just like
people.
whenever we do get that reception, like individually or as a group, we ain't even phased by it because at the end of
Okay.
the day, we know our stuff is good, and we know
Mhm.
that it's like we are leading the front of a lot of great artists that are doing this type of stuff. So they just need to catch up.
Yeah.
Catch up. Yep.
It's true. To me, it feels like you guys are ahead of your time. Because again, nobody sounds like you guys, and yeah, I'm a picky listener. And there's certain things that I will avoid because I feel like I wouldn't like it. But you guys' style, like I feel like there's definitely nobody that sounds like you guys because, like I said earlier on, it sounds like a lot of people would try to do these things, but it's heavier on one genre over another. Whereas where you guys do it, it really does feel seamless, it feels like its own genre. And it's hard to describe it. It really is. I'm just like, you're gonna have to listen to the album in order to understand like what I mean by like the musical stew of it all. Like it's very impressive. Um, and so I wanted to speak about you guys' creations individually and why you decided to create your own studio. Because if I read it correctly, you guys did create your own like studio, right?
Mm-hmm. Want to say something about it? I know you came later, but you're definitely
I did come here. It's just all right. Well, I'll answer to the best of my abilities. So the two questions is why do we create our own studio? What was the other part of the question?
Was just, and then we want to highlight you guys individually as your individual musical talents.
Okay, yeah. I think for me, starting out with just individual musical talent, I think one thing where I kind of fit in with Wreck the System is I was Dolo, and I had to do everything. You have to do everything. So making my own beats, figuring out how to mix, record, master, and of course rapping and stuff. And I think what I just bring to the table really is just a lot of I would say a lot of experience of like, oh, I can make this beat. Oh, I can mix this track. I can be useful. And of course, when it comes to just creativity, it's really just not hard to do because it's something that's brand new. Because Wreck the System actually was the first time I started making nerd music or geek music or even knowing what geek music was. When I first heard some of Cam 3's beats, I was like, what is this Star Wars and hip hop? Is this Space Invaders and hip hop? It was wild. It was like
I
X-Men.
see.
It was crazy. And I think as far as a solo artist, I did not have that before Wreck the System. And if you listen to solo stuff outside of Wreck the System, I would say that there's a tiny bit of Wreck the System influence you can hear in my music now that you couldn't hear before. So you would hear my solo stuff, and it won't be nerdcore, but you'll hear a lot of like nerdcore stuff sprinkled into it, which honestly I think is where the group is going dynamically anyway, as far as
Mhm.
a whole. But that's me as far as solo stuff. And as far as just the reason why the studio started, it started before me. So you'll hear the backstory. But I know when I got here, the biggest thing was working with an artist to a point to where you're really working with them and bringing what they have up here into reality. So when they leave the studio, they're happy and they're excited, and they're not leaving like, oh man, because we would look for studios in the area and we would never have it the way we exactly wanted it. So when I found
Mhm.
Record System, and I was like, yo, sounds amazing. This is great. This is the most amazing thing. And it was just the attitude of that's how we want people to feel when they come here, because how we wanted to feel when we went places. And that's what Cam 3 and Lady J, that's the message that they gave me when I first joined.
And he summed it up
So,
wonderfully.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Well, yeah, he basically said, as far as why we created a studio, we just wanted to be able to have a place to go and give what we wanted to other people, and people love coming to us. Individual wise, yeah, it's honestly, I would say this too, being able to be individual artists and like make Wreck the System kind of like the funnel or like the home base really helps with just creativity in general. Like we don't have any kind of creative classes. If we do, there's like super small, like very, very, very minimal. But having that solo career and that solo thing is like, yeah, I get the chance to just do whatever this way and then bring it back to Wreck the System or funnel it back to Wreck the System. Um, as far as I go, I think I lean a lot heavier into like the rock and alternative like sound with my
Okay.
stuff. So that that I kind of get to do or whatnot on my own. And then like Kingdom Hearts, like I had a whole Kingdom Hearts thing. Me and Cam are like Kingdom Hearts fans, like to the core. And Cyrus, he knows a bit, but
nor did
Sorry, we caught him up with the Lord.
kind of up with the Lord. But yeah, so yeah, that's just really why we do it. Is it kind of like covers all bases.
I would say, like, yeah, in terms of like how the studio started, pretty much everybody summed it up in the fact that we founded it originally just as sort of a way of, bringing a lot of different artists and stuff like that we knew that were dope, and making sure they had like a sort of a hub they could come to, record, get their music out and everything like that. I know we had a lot of friends that are doing it, but just in general, just meeting new people and just being able to contribute something great. And as far as like individually, it's a little bit of both of that. I started rapping and wanted to put my own spin on being a more socially conscious rapper with a nerdy edge, because I figured like people weren't really doing it like that, and but also be weird with it and be able to have a different style than everybody else. But at the same time, around the time I started producing music, I really had a thing for making video game remixes, like a lot of arrangements based on video game music. I got my starts on Newgrounds and then started putting my stuff on YouTube and SoundCloud, just making totally different genres for classic games and stuff like that. And then me and Jay, who actually went to the same high school together,
Okay.
we sort of just got drawn together because of the type of music that we made. And I was getting better with beats, and she was doing her thing with mixtapes and stuff like that. And honestly, she was one of the first people to really give me a shot in terms of like trying out my beats. And
Wow.
yeah, and so ever since, and then ever since then, I was working on perfecting my craft as like sort of a lyricist. She had a studio that she worked at. We would record there, and I was starting to sharpen up my stuff. And then when we started forming Wreck the System, that's when it really started coming together. And then Osiris came into the fold, and we really started having some really dope artists aside. And I say that they really pushed me to be better than where I was, like in terms of flow, in terms of delivery, in terms of attitude, in terms of the type of beats. But most of all, these guys let me get weird with it. Like I really like just working with them, just because I like playing with different genres that should be played with. Like I like throwing different things together and just seeing what works. And they'll let me do it, and they encourage it. And so
They let you be you.
Yes, they let me be me. And I don't know many other musical environments that, have that type of freedom or that type of just let's do it.
Right. He's really the glue. Like he's the reason why we're genre bending and fucking shit up. It's like, wow, all right, like let's go. Like I can say that.
I love y'all whole vibe, like outside of like music right now, because like you guys are not just speaking again, like it goes back to like your performance. You guys carry this outside of the stage too. Y'all care about building like this community that's safe for artists to get weird, like you said. You know what I mean? And
You are without fear.
That's our
I'm so
motto.
sorry.
Be who you are without fear is our motto. So
Look at that. Yeah. And I love that. I really do, because you guys are letting people go outside of the box that everybody else is trying to put them in. And that definitely will help them creatively. And I'm sure it'll fuel you guys in some way creatively, because giving back and having like that feeling of, I know what I want to feel, so I want you to feel that too. That's amazing. Like I'm falling in love with you guys all over again. Like the performance is great off the stage. You guys are amazing. Let's talk about the new album real quick. Like I said, my favorite was on the edge. I want to make sure I said it right. So this is your fourth album.
Tokens.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So for what?
I do a little research every now and again. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm a little off, but so what made you what was it that you were like, okay, this is the next album?
I think I remember the story.
Yeah, it was a lot.
I just remember because Jay had, what was the last, you had put out Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah. I know a big part of it was the fact that we made Wreckfest, and we hadn't put out an album in the past, like, what, 3 years?
Oh wow.
Yeah, because Wreckfest came out in 2018. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to put one out, like, I think like in 2019, 2020, but we all know what's happened there. Mm-hmm. So that kind of, and I ended up just working on solo stuff and put out Vessels of Light. That's the Kingdom Hearts album in 2020. Okay. So when we wanted, it was like, okay, Rec needs another album. So what are we going to do? And we just kind of loosely came together. It's like we want to grow and we want to kind of, like, nerdcore is our heart or whatnot, but we didn't want like a heavy nerdy theme this time around. Mm-hmm. So it was just going to be an album where each song was just like, wow, I could listen to this. Wow, I could listen to this. This stands alone. Each song stands alone on itself instead of it being super themed. Mm-hmm. So once we had that, we had the tracks. We, went through what we liked, what we didn't like, came into the studio, got the sessions done, and we had an album. So, like, I feel like that's kind of the overall,
The overall of it. Yeah.
Like, what we were concentrating with this album is all killer, no filler. Just straightforward, boom, 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 boom. And we also just wanted to just have that as a display of just our growth and just how we stand. And so when people ask, what album should we listen to with Record System? I mean, we love them all, but it's just like this is the one we wanted to set as like sort of like the, if you pull up Record System, it's just like this is the album that I have in mind.
Oh, okay. So in all fairness, like, yes, I did say that I have a favorite. I do have a favorite song, but like all the songs were great. So I was sitting there like, oh, I'm just going to listen to the album and like do my homework at the same time. Cause when I do any type of studying, I need like something in the background. So I was like, I'll just listen. No. There was no homework being done. Cause I was like, oh my God, this is so good. Like, oh my God, this next song is just as good. What is happening? Like, what is going on? Like this is like, I got to, so on the list, the very last or second to last is Ragnarok. And even with that, I was like, yes, let's go. Like, I was so hyped. My kids were passing by like, are you raving right now? Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, yo, you have to listen to this. Like, I unplugged the thing and they're like, wow, that's really good. And I'm just like, isn't it? Like, so yeah, I do have a favorite, but the whole album, like, legit, like, I know it sounds like I'm blowing smoke up your ass, but I'm really not, because I don't have a poker face. Like, I can't lie. Like, that's a thing that I can't do. But like every song was hitting. And then Ragnarok and Hotel Party, I had to pull up the list to make sure I got like the words right. Ragnarok ended, Hotel Party started, and I didn't even notice that a whole new song started until Hotel Party finished and like the whole thing restarted. And I was like, wait a second, I just missed, like, I didn't realize it was true.
I will say that Hotel Party was actually the single from from Wreckfest from our last album. So I don't know if it was like back to back, and then you were listening to.
Oh, on the Spotify thing that I have, it just played that, and then it like
Wow.
replayed the Spotify list thing that I have. Yeah, it just played it, but it even flowed. Well, even if it's like it flowed part of it.
Wow, that's good.
I'm glad it holds
Hotel
up
Party
because
Gold was okay.
that was like one of our biggest hits like for a while, but that was like in 2018, and so we
Oh
definitely
wow.
tried to get more out there. But I'm glad it still holds up because people still ask for that joint.
Oh, do they? Okay, yeah, like it threw me off because when it restarted, I was like, oh, it ended, and then I'm looking, I'm like, oh my God, it was two separate songs.
Yeah, because Ragnarok is the last track of the album, and what Spotify tends to do, it'll play like something else or whatnot that's similar to it. So yeah, Ragnarok's the last song of the album.
Yep.
Got it. Okay, but I was hyped throughout the whole thing. I was like, yo, they're really like killing it. And I so to the point. So do you guys say y'all gonna make an album, or is it that y'all have the songs and you're like, this is enough for an album? Walk me through that process, because I'm not familiar with like how like music is put into an album, and I know you guys are like super creative, so I amount of songs, this would be perfect for an album. How does that process work, if you don't mind?
Okay, so just to catch him up, asking about the process of making an album, if we had the tracks already set or if we just went along with it. So basically, what we did, we didn't have the tracks set per se. Like, I think what we did is we had a few of the tracks set. It's like, okay, this is kind of coming together. No?
Much bigger.
Much bigger?
Yeah.
Okay, he might be
Yeah,
a little bit.
the way it started out was I have a producer. Shout out to this producer who did a lot of the beats on the album.
Kid Cannibal.
Kid Cannibal. He actually, so
Let's
he's a
go.
retired producer. He's had stuff on like VH1 before. He had stuff on different like licensing, like commercials, like reality shows.
Oh wow.
Hip hop beats were so different that not a lot of rappers were buying them.
Yeah.
So I went to his house one day because I was looking for just solo stuff, and he was like, "Here's over 200 beats. Have fun."
Oh yeah, that's right.
Wow.
That's right. That's how it started.
He gave me over
exactly-
200 beats, and I hit up Rec, and I was like, I'm going to comb through these 200 beats, and I'm gonna narrow it down to 50 for us, or like around 50. And so I brought in these 50 beats to the crew, and we all sat down and we just went through a process of narrowing all those down to about, I think he produced like 6 or 7 songs on the album.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's that's how we started from a beat standpoint, and we built everything from there.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we pretty much added what we felt was missing. Like Cam ended up putting one in. Cam and Osiris ended up like collaborating. Another producer named Free Mind. We had that's right. We had producers send us beats.
Yes.
Because we're like, okay, so we need more album beats. You know, what you guys? So then we comb through their like 50 beats that they sent us or whatnot. It was crazy.
Wow, that's so cool though. To sit there through all those beats and then be like, this is the mecca for now. For now, because I'm feeling that maybe like there might be some of that left over for the next album. Just, I like an exclusive around. I like an exclusive around here. So
or solo projects, you never know. Like you'll definitely hear those beats at some point.
I will not.
Yes.
I will confirm nor deny.
I like an exclusive. So y'all are considered nerdy like myself. So what is your nerdy department? Like for me, I'm more video game, then I'm like comic books, and then anime. Like that's my trifecta of my nerdiness. I'm not a tech person. Don't ask me to fix anything. I can't fix anything. So what's y'all's level of nerdy, or not level, but what is y'all nerdy preferences?
So I would say with me, it resides mostly in gaming and anime. But the kind of gaming is like console. Like I said, I'm big into Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy, like RPGs or whatnot. And then anime is just all over the place. There's so many different kinds I have seen. I actually just realized that my favorite genre of anime, they don't even know this. I just found this out 2 days ago, is action dramas. So so I'm like, oh, cool, awesome. But yeah, so that would be mine. I'm also kind of a techie kind of geek because I'm an engineer, and I can't say that I can like build a computer. I'm sure if I tried, I probably could. But yeah, I do fix a lot of things. But I'm not IT nerd. So
Okay, gotcha.
there you go.
Gotcha.
I'm definitely gamer. Like it's nothing against any other facets or islands of geekiness, but I'm definitely a gamer. I'd say some of my favorite franchises would be Zelda, Pokemon, Sonic the Hedgehog, and the like. But I tend to just be in that realm, even though lately, because I've been so busy, I haven't had a lot of time to catch up on the latest games. I'm definitely an anime head, but because there's so much anime out there, I can't really. I can name you like maybe 10, and that wouldn't even describe like half of the one, like a grand corner. I'm trying, but I definitely love like anime. Currently, I'm catching up on Demon Slayer.
I just finished the first season. I'm behind too. Don't even feel bad. I just finished the
I'm still
first
finishing
season.
the first season. I'm still working on it. And I'm big into the superhero world. Like I wouldn't say comics per se because I don't read the comics, but just
Okay.
everything adjacent to that. Like
Got
I'm
it.
more Marvel than DC, but I like DC first. So it's like
Oh.
but at the same time, the MCU is kind of running things right now. So
Mm,
need them to
yeah.
catch up a little bit. No offense.
Yeah.
And in terms of like other like things of that nature, I think that's kind of my main like pillar. Like I'd say like maybe science fiction, fantasy, and anything between like Star Wars would be is dope. For hits and misses. But that's mainly me.
I think for me, it's a thing of because it's so weird, man. I would say I would say I'm very much so into. I'm a film geek. I love movies. I will love sitting there watching like whether it's reality movies like based on real people or it's
Oh.
like animated movies based on people who never existed. TVs turned into movies. Like it doesn't matter. I like TV shows like Rick and Morty. I'm a huge
Yeah.
Morty fan.
Yep, yep.
Even though the season before last season was kind of missing for me. But yeah, gaming. It depends on what's out. I know when God of War came out, me and Jay was playing God of War all the time, and Overwatch
I knew it's
came out.
coming.
I know
You
it's
gotta play
coming.
it.
I know.
I knew it's
I'm,
coming.
I'm a huge Overwatch person. I just haven't played.
Oh.
I just fell off playing it because nothing. It doesn't
Well,
keep me interested. But I think I'm really big on just like movies, films, TV shows. Because I will sit there, get wrapped up in like Dragon Ball Z, Rick and Morty.
There you go. I was gonna say
yeah,
he's a
he's
shonen protagonist. I don't know why he's
the
in here
big
faking.
No, I'm gonna tell you why.
I'm
Dragon Ball Z, fucking.
Baki.
Come on, damn.
This is why I didn't say I was just an anime geek because if I say yo I'm in the shonen, there's a long list of shonens. I have a very small shonen list, but I love them all like to the moon. You know what I'm saying? So because we do have Dragon Ball Z, which I know it's not the best, but I love it anyway. I don't care what it says.
It's the best.
Yeah. Don't even worry about what people say.
Like we have Baki, which is I love Baki. We have Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
What's the game?
Is there?
Like
Who?
Something the ruler. I don't even know this stuff. Like,
You were telling us about shows.
Rurouni.
Rurouni?
Not Rurouni Kenshin.
No, that was
It started with a K.
Kenichi the Mighty Disciple.
See, there you go.
But
Is there anything you guys are currently watching? Zach wants to know, is there anything you're currently watching? Now, if it's a long list, I understand, but is there anything like, and then he says One Piece is the best. It is not. Thank you for your opinion.
I can't even front. I haven't started on it, but because the way my ADD set up, I'm gonna need that thing to like wrap up soon before I begin on it. I will give it a chance, but only after that.
Yo, right now I'm watching something called Tact Op Destiny. Yeah, it is a anime that is basically you are fighting with music, and it is like a apocalyptic world or whatnot, where if music is played, then there are demons that'll come and try to attack you.
Really?
And yeah, and then like the women or whatnot will fight or however, and the guys are like meisters or however. Maestros. Yeah, there you go. It is so cool. So
where's that at?
We gonna talk after this.
Yeah, I'm like, where do I find that at?
Yeah.
I am currently, like I said, I'm currently catching up on Demon Slayer since I'm late as all get out, like I usually am. Something that I've been watching recently that kind of falls out of my usual interest, Spy Family or Spy X Family.
I've heard somebody told me that was pretty good.
It is so like right from the jump, it just charmed me to no end. It's just the perfect mix of You got something adorable. You got some action packed. It's also a rom com and everything in between. It mixes all those elements so well. It's like every Saturday it came on Crunchyroll was just my little dose of happy that day because it was just so like just charming and wholesome and just funny in general. So I definitely recommend that for anybody that finished Beastars. Of course, Attack on Titan is having this third or fourth hiatus. I'm glad I caught up on a manga, but why I did. That's the first time I read a manga because I was not waiting for a year for the rest of that ending, and I'm glad I did it. One more show. I don't know. I need to catch up because I'm just getting the docket done for my Crunchyroll, and she's got a lot of shows. Cowboy Bebop. I watched Cowboy Bebop when I was a kid, but I didn't really appreciate it that much because a lot of the things went past me. So I'm catching up on that.
Yeah, don't watch the live action though.
Yeah, we tried. I tried watching that. I think honestly, it takes me a while to get into new stuff. I'm currently rewatching Tournament of Power again because it's amazing. I just love watching Tournament of Power. It's like the third time. Dragon Ball Super. I'm just rewatching it. I'm like, until Baki and King and Ashura have a new season, I'm gonna keep rewatching stuff.
We're watching. Well, all of us are watching like what The Boys and stuff like that or whatnot. Well, he's not watching Stranger Things. We're watching Stranger Things.
You're not watching Stranger Things? Watch Stranger Things.
Here's the thing. I didn't watch it when it first came out. I felt like I got left behind, and sometimes I'll jump on things, and now they're adults, and I'm just like, well, there's just no.
They're adults.
I'm like that with Game of Thrones. I never started, and even though I said I was going to do it after it ended, I heard about how it ended, and I still may try it out, like knowing the impact of it, but at the same time, it's like they did y'all dirty.
It did. I'm still left salty about that. So that's why this prequel, I'm like, oh, do I want to love it? But I know how y'all did me, so like I'm gonna watch it with caution.
What are you currently watching?
Currently I am. So I love how you turn that around. I'm like, so let's see. I got yelled at until I finally finished Demon Slayer, and that's pretty much it. Because I'm a picky anime watcher, very picky. I did on Attack on Titans, but I like the old school stuff like Samurai Champloo.
Yeah, you just recently watched that too.
It is so good. Like the style is just so I just love it. And then I'm watching My Hero because my kids are watching My Hero. So we watch that for dinner. This new season, I'm like, I don't know what's happening. I feel like it's a filler season, but I'm being told it's not to push through. All right, I'll keep pushing through. And then but like I love Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, stuff like that. So that's why I'm picky. So I'm like, there's just nothing kind of like it, but everybody's just like, just going. And then Zach is getting me to try watch Yu Yu Hakusho.
I need to watch that.
Big classic.
Yeah. So that's what I'm doing. As far as video games, I'm kind of all over the place as well. That's why I hopped into your stream because I believe you were trying to play Catherine, which is one of my favorite games. Like I love Catherine so much. I bought it 5 times. That's how much I love it. Yes.
Yeah, they came up with a lot of like renditions of it. But yeah, my computer apparently isn't strong enough to play Catherine, so that's why I ended up playing Tales of Berseria.
So you guys love, you guys like anime and stuff like that. Did you guys ever play around with the idea of making like a song not for an anime but based off of anime? I'm saying the exact same thing. Like, did I hit on something?
Yeah, we got some stuff in the vault. We had to get this album out because it's been so long, and we chose not to have a heavy anime or gaming or however theme with it. But we have things that are literally done. We have videos, anime music video type things, literally done that has not been put out. But trust me, there is so much going on with Wreck the System and so much to look forward to.
I'm excited.
Yes.
Cool. And you guys are on tour, is that correct? Or you're about to start a tour?
We aren't starting a tour per se. I would say if we are going to do a tour, that would probably look a little more possible in like 2023, maybe 2024 if we push it back that far, but nothing this year.
Okay, I think I misread something that somebody posted, and I thought I saw that it said that you guys were on tour or something like that. So
No,
okay,
that's
it was
fine.
me misreading. It's fine.
I would say a lot of fans will do that. They'll see that we've done like 3 or 4 shows in a month.
And
They'll
think
be like,
you're
"Yo,
right.
you're touring," and sometimes,
Okay, so
sometimes I
that could
will
have been
correct
it.
them, but sometimes I'll correct them later.
Like
Yeah.
you know, just like yeah, sure.
Sure, like
Sure.
whatever.
Yeah, so we're going to Canada actually in the next day.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's exciting.
Just, one off and come right back. So,
Okay, okay.
Oh, it's North America, but still international.
So do you guys open for people, or is it like your own show? I know you guys kind of do cons, right? Because you guys are going to be at Baltimore Comic Con, right? Is it Baltimore?
no, we're not going to be at Baltimore Comic Con.
Okay.
Well, it's funny. We have a lot of things that are planned. The management is trying to get us in on. Like we got like this Blurred Bash thing that we're getting into, which was like Hag Entertainment or however, which is what is it like hip hop and gaming entertainment. Then of course like we did Blurred Con. Dragon Con, I don't think we got that, but we were very close to getting that again because we had before. South by Southwest might be in the future. So it's so many different things. But
Okay.
yeah. No.
And you said you have a manager for that?
Yeah, we have management. Yeah,
Okay,
we actually
perfect.
officially have management, which has been amazing. So yeah.
I bet it's one less thing that you guys have to do, and y'all can focus on the creative part of it all.
Yes, exactly.
So people that are trying to get into creating an album or even just releasing a single, is there any advice that you guys could possibly give? Is it worth like putting your savings into like studio time, stuff like that?
Oh, that's weird.
I think there's 3 different answers to this. This is how anybody right now who has starting from the ground level, and I would say you have the most basic of recording equipment right now that can give you a very decent, not what you would get here, but a very decent product. So you don't have to do that and waste money on something that's not even going to translate or be a good investment. I would suggest people kind of start on the ground level, like learn the most basic things about beats and recording and just make a bunch of demo stuff. Make a bunch of stuff until you're kind of like to a point where you're like, nah, like I have about 5 to 10 songs that I really want to put on streaming services, that I really want to shoot videos for, that I really want to perform. And I would say just invest in kind of getting those songs one by one by one. And because nowadays you don't even need a full album to make money off of music, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
I think my advice would be like start at a very low level and kind of just work your way up. Because I would hate for someone to like if you have the money to like 15 grand, I'm buying all this equipment, I'm buying the studio time, but then you're going to get in there and make something that you don't even like because you're not used to this. So that would be my advice.
Okay.
I'd say on a creative level, definitely just start, but do the weird thing. Do the weird thing that you have in mind, even if it's not necessarily popular, but and just put it out there. There's a lot of outlets. Like I said, I got my start from Newgrounds, where you can put out music for free on the audio portal. There's SoundCloud, there's Bandcamp. There's a lot of different ways you can just go about doing it and just putting it out, even if you don't have the most advanced equipment. Like I know when me and Jay we started recording, she had a booth in her mom's in her closet in her mom's house. So
Oh wow.
we started from that level and then worked our way up gradually. But also make sure you are willing to take constructive criticism. And I say specifically constructive, because out there's a bunch of trolls, a bunch of naysayers who are just like, don't quit your day job, just this sucks, and they won't elaborate on why.
Yeah.
Even if they do say that, like, it would be helpful if they at least get an answer just to see, okay, this is where people's heads are at. But in general, you can't hang up on every little word every hater is going to say, because they can say whatever and then just dip out. But the ones that are specifically saying, hey, I think this has potential, but I think you could do this, that, or the third, don't take it as an attack, because they wouldn't take all that time out unless they really saw some potential in you. And you're going to need that for the future, especially amongst your friends, your peers. Don't have a lot of yes men in your crew. If it stinks, it stinks. These guys keep me honest, like straight up, if I can do better. And even sometimes that may be frustrating, but that's important if you want to get to where you're going. If you got an ego and you haven't even put out anything yet, then you're not gonna really make it that far. So
yeah. And I will kind of wrap that up and say, when it does come to investing your money, because that was a question, investing your money into doing something that you really want to do and it's your first time doing it, there are It's like three big things that I will point on, and I'll make it very short. One, definitely do not start trying to come to a studio here. I don't even care if you were standing in front of a speaker and have your phone and you were recording yourself so you can hear yourself back. The idea that you want before you step into a place here is to feel like you can create that kind of music or that, whatever you're doing, like over and over and over. Because the great thing about us is we make different music and like, but even with management, it was hard to pinpoint exactly like, okay, what are you doing? It's like, yo, this is us. Like we know we've had a lot of practice in order to identify where we want to be. You need to identify where you want to be. So that's one. The second thing is, yes, when you do start investing in your stuff or however, take that criticism, do different things, but also know when you are fine because music is like you can do whatever you want. So if you got a bunch of people telling you, I don't know, don't keep changing yourself if you feel like that's right.
Yeah.
So stick to your guns. And then three, when you are ready, you figured out your sound, you know that you want to do this or however, be very cautious about who you give your money to. That's why we have this studio. That's why we wanted to create a studio. There's a lot of people out there that have all these fancy things and gear or whatnot, and they still don't know what they're doing. So do your research once you get into that point and figure out what you need to sound like and what you want to get out of the money you're giving the person.
Wow.
So,
That's definitely, don't trust everybody. That's a fact. That's definitely for real. So other than Spotify, is your album anywhere else? Because I only got it on Spotify, but let everybody know where they can cop the album because they definitely need to get this album.
Apple Music.
Go on YouTube, type in Record System. Go on Instagram, type in Record System.
Go on
Go on
Tidal.
Spotify, Tidal,
Deezer,
Apple Music,
Bandcamp.
YouTube,
there,
Just go on Google. It's
SoundCloud.
hair music, banana music, fruit music, vegetable
Is
music.
Napster still
All
there?
that.
Napster. Is Napster something?
Napster.
We're not doing Napster, dog.
Napster.
It's on Napster, so it's
Yeah,
You
like
don't know.
Is it
it's
on?
on Napster.
Oh, well, damn. All right.
Oh, I thought y'all was joking. Is it really on there?
we just scared off like 2% of our
That's
They have
awesome.
Napster.
Oh my gosh. Well, unfortunately, we have come to the end of our time here. I could literally talk to you guys for forever. You guys are amazing. On the stage, off the stage. I'm like super happy that you guys are amazing, like off the stage. The fact that you guys warm my heart. Like, you know what I mean? Y'all are so cool and so down to earth and so nice. I appreciate you guys are super busy and I appreciate that you guys took the time to talk with me and enlighten me on music and probably helped a lot of our listeners as well with this stuff. I definitely suggest everybody getting Wreck the System's new album. Do yourself a favor, clean the house with it because y'all will be so pumped, like, yeah, let's go. If you're driving, people are gonna be looking at you like you're crazy because you're gonna be like, all because you can't do homework while listening to this music. So that's an advisory. So yeah, y'all could use that as a soundbite. Don't do homework while listening to our newest album. So, but thank you guys so much. If you guys want to stick around real quick, let me just wrap up the show and then we'll wrap up together. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for stopping by and tuning in. I appreciate it so much. I'll be back next Wednesday with another guest. You know how we do. Appreciate you all. Have a good one. Bye, everybody.